Heyo. Righty, ho, ho, ho.
Hello everyone and welcome to our first ever podcast. I'm Georgie.
I'm Mel.
And this is the Coaching Journal. Do you want to rock into who Mel is?
So, hi, I'm Mel. I am the owner of MT Fitness Coaching, which is an online coaching, fitness and wellness company. And one of my biggest passions in life is all things fitness, nutrition, health, and wellness.
Mel is the wellness queen for sure, definitely. I'm Georgie. So I am the owner of 13 Fitness Coaching and 13 Men's Coaching. So we've decided to kind of come together and chat a little bit about fitness, all things wellness, a bit of mindset. But today's subject,
we are going to talk about habits.
Habits.
And I believe that habits are the underlying factor to any success in pretty much any area of your life, but specifically in terms of fitness.
No, I agree. It's the foundations, it's the groundwork of everything. And actually, there's so much to it with habits. It's not just... You need to build good habits and then you'll have a good life.
Yeah, 100%. And I think the thing is with habits... It depends where you're starting, where you're at, and exactly where you are. There's still habits that I'm learning. There's still things that I can put into my day-to-day life and kind of
make better. How there's definitely still some things that I think about in my life that I think there's ways I could improve my habits for sure.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I don't think it ever stops, but I do think that's where it starts. So in terms of what a habit actually is, what do you believe a habit actually is?
It's essentially something that you can do habitually, right? Something that you can do every day or every week or every hour, whatever it is, and it's become habitual to you. So which means that it's become like clockwork.
Yes.
An automation in your life, right?
Yeah. And I think that's where it differs from motivation. So I think that motivation and habits get interlinked quite a lot. So people start because they're motivated and then that wears off, and that's how when that wears off, that's where we know the habit is created. We're going to do it whether we're motivated or not, right?
Yeah. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? And I think there's a lot of people that are probably listening to this thinking I know I have to change my habits to do better in my health and fitness, right?
Yeah.
Probably all heard the phrase of it's not motivation, it's consistency.
Yeah.
That is habits.
Yeah.
Consistency is habits. If you are going to the gym 3 to 5 times a week, that's a habit that you go to the gym, right? It's the same as if you were brushing your teeth every morning. It's a habit of taking your supplements. It's a habit of tracking your food. All of these things are so... the groundwork, like you said before, of actually creating a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah.
And we know that, but why are we not implementing it then?
Yeah.
How do you get to that point, right?
Yeah. When we first start, we have motivation. That's why we decide to make a change. So we probably see something, we experience something. So we know what the goal is. Let's say the long-term goal is fat loss, right? And what we need to then think about and consider is actually taking the emotion out of it. What do I actually need to do? Let's make a decision about that. And that starts to become, how do I actually make the habit?
Yeah, for sure.
And really bringing it back. So I think that there's a couple of systems that you have, and things that you have to think about before you actually make a habit. And it's things like, what do I actually want the habit to be? Is it a start, stop, or continue? Because actually there is a saying that's basically if you actually stopped your worst habit, you would be better off than starting something new. So actually it could be, for example, you are doing something that's actually detrimental to your health weekly, monthly, daily. You'd be actually better off stopping that before you starting something new. And then I do think it's actually understanding the systems you have around you, the people you have around you, what is going to work and what is not, before you actually say, this is what I'm actually going to do, and taking that step.
That reminds me of one of my favorite things that I love to say, and the phrase of nothing changes if nothing changes. And I think you've probably had the same when you have clients join, and it's they go, but I don't want to change this, and I don't want to stop doing this, or I don't want to stop drinking and having takeaways on the weekend. And it's well,
something's got to give.
Something's got to give here.
Yeah.
If what you're doing at the moment isn't getting you the results you want, you got to change something.
Yeah. Definitely. Sure. And the change might not be that significant to start off with. I know in my personal experiences, anything that I've tried to just leap into and like just dive into the deep end hasn't really worked.
Yeah.
It's been all of the 1% that have changed, and I've started really, really small. So, you know, it hasn't ever been a case of, right, I'm going to go to the gym 4 times a week, taking myself from nothing to 4 times a week with no structure, with no plan, with nothing other than an idea of, I want to lose 6 pounds. Do you know what I mean? But actually, like, coming into a situation where you then are like, right, yes, I want to lose 6 pounds, but I need structure. That's the habit you need.
What habits do I need to implement?
Yeah.
Or get rid of to actually get to that point?
Yeah.
And I think as well, like, from a coaching perspective, is when we have people join us and we have to help them build those habits first of all. What would the first kind of basic habits that we would give to someone if they did say, I want to lose 6 pounds? Right? So what would your, like, obviously it's very individual.
Yes.
But the most basic ones that we could think of, like, for example, going to the gym, making that a habit. And the one thing I actually always say to clients with the gym is, like, see it like an appointment. It's a doctor's appointment. Like, it's not a case of shuffling it around your life. Yes, to start with, you have to build a routine that fits around your lifestyle, for sure. Like, if you're a mother with kids, or if you work 9 to 5, you can't go to the gym at 2 p.m, obviously. So you build something around that. You can only go 3 times a week. Okay, when can you go? You go this day, this day, this day. And unless something crops up that is completely unavoidable, that is your unavoidable. And therefore, then you're making that habit every week.
And I think some of it is actually just showing up.
For sure.
Like, you're not going to, like, your habits aren't always going to feel nice. They're not always going to feel successful. And something that I always talk about my clients with is the rule of thirds. 1/3 is going to feel fab. You're going to go in, you're going to be like, oh, it was the best. 2nd third is going to feel kind of neutral. You're going to feel like, man, that was all right. And then the other third is probably going to feel pretty rubbish, right? And it's just not expecting it to feel easy all the time. There's going to be times with the gym, for example, that you're going to have to drag yourself there. And it's probably going to be in a time limit. We all have that, but actually it's knowing that these habits are something that is bigger than you. So for example, when I go to the gym now, it's not shall I go, it's like there's not even a decision. I will be there. That it's not.
That's when I liked the analogy of, like, brushing your teeth. Because we brush our teeth we brush our teeth in the morning, not because we wake up going, I'm so motivated to brush my teeth. Like, I cannot wait to put that toothbrush in my mouth. Not at all. But it's because we know that if we don't, our teeth will deteriorate. And we'll have horrible, skanky yellow teeth. So we make sure that we brush our teeth every morning or every night. And, you know, we do that. And that's therefore a habit. And do we wake up sometimes going, oh, I can't, you know, and maybe sometimes you don't. Maybe sometimes you skip one and you go, oh, I forgot to brush my teeth today. And that's okay. But the next day, you know you're going to do it because it's a habit, because you wake up and you do it.
I have a rule in my life where you never skip twice.
I like that.
So if you are going to skip something, if there is a reason why you are missing something that you know you should be doing, whether it be a workout, nutrition, whatever it may be, you don't allow it to happen 2 times.
I like that.
So if, for example, a system doesn't work, let's say you get home from work, you are just so tired, whatever may be going on in your life, and you think, I've got no food in, I need to order in. That's okay once. The second time is then a choice. So it's actually then, once it's happened once that mistake has happened, you think, right, my habits need to improve. I need to change something. So never allow it to happen twice. And if you are in a position where you have a coach, you can then go to your coach and be like, this happened this week. How can I make sure that I don't succumb to that again? And if you have that great relationship with your coach, which you should, then you will be able to then come up with structures and plans and making sure that things don't happen twice.
Definitely.
Once is a mistake, twice is a choice.
And just to add to that as well, in terms of coaching, it's like, if you do have a coach and you're not leaning on your coach in that way, do so. Even if you think that you can control that habit, or you know what to do, right? Lots of my clients say to me, I know what to do, but they still want to say it to me. And then they're still going to hear my feedback because it actually might trigger something that makes you go, I didn't think about doing that. One thing I wanted to mention as well, as you were saying then, is habit stacking. So this is a really big, like, subject, and I think this maybe came from, like, one of the famous, like, habit books. I can't think.
I think it's Atomic Habits.
Is it Atomic Habits that I'm thinking of? And stacking habits, which personally I actually haven't ever really, like, sat down and applied that to my own life, but I do think it's a really useful tool. So habit stacking, correct me if I'm wrong, if I've got the kind of, like, gist of this, but it's like, like I said with the brushing your teeth thing.
Yeah.
If you wake up, or making a coffee in the morning.
Yeah.
If you're waking up to make a coffee in the morning, you put your supplements next to it so that you are then taking your tablets and then putting the kettle on at the same time.
Yeah. That's exactly it. So it's almost like if you have a habit, something that you do every single day, for example, every single week, and you never fail that habit, making a coffee in the morning is a good one. You can do something whilst that kettle is boiling, like whilst you're doing something. Taking your supplements is one of them. Me personally, I hate taking my supplements, so I have had to like habit stack those to make sure that I am not forgetting those. And it's about creating systems that are going to work for you in your life. We see a lot of optimization on like Instagram and things like that, you know.
Such a buzzword.
Yeah, like putting your face in the cold water and then going for your cold plunge, like all of those things. But actually it is taking it right back to reality.
Yes,
Put your supplements next to the kettle.
Another habit book that I've read recently, Micro Habits, which is really nice, really good one.
Oh, cool.
And they were talking a lot about starting off very small. So again, in that sense, but starting off small with actually making a habit. So for example, a big one is people always think, I want to wake up earlier.
Yeah.
Because you can get more done with your day and you want to, I don't know, be a 7 a.m. waker or a 6 a.m. waker rather than an 8 a.m. waker. But instead of being like, right, as of tomorrow, I will be waking up at 6:30 every morning.
Yeah.
And you wake up one time and you go, I ain't doing that again. I ain't doing that again. And instead of that, you set it 15 minutes earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, I got 15 minutes extra in my day.
Yeah.
I'm going to make a coffee. I'm going to use that 15 minutes and then do that for a week.
Yeah.
And then a week later you go, I'm going to up that back by 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So actually, myself and my husband Callum have recently done this. So we found that we were always panicking towards the end of the evening because we'd be getting to the gym for 7 p.m. or the dog walk would just be stressful and it just didn't work. It was not working. We'd be either skipping something or we'd be missing out on a section of work and it just was horrible. So we were like, right, well, how can we adjust our day? So let's make a habit of getting up earlier. And you think, oh my God, I don't want to lose an hour of my sleep. But we thought, okay, let's just start by half an hour earlier. And now, after doing this for 6-7 months, we've managed to make it so that we just naturally rise at quarter to, well, actually Callum rises at 6:45. He makes me a coffee and I rise at 7.
Always my coffee,
But we now do that and now that's a habit. So then we get up, we actually have a coffee first and then once that coffee is done, that's when the dog walk happens and then it just starts my day.
Yeah. And it's that thing, 1% every day over 100 days is 100%. Exactly. But actually if you're just going on 100% and then you never do it again.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it doesn't mean anything.
And that's when you're banking too much on motivation, right? Because you're motivated to be like, I want to be an early riser. So you wake up that morning and you go, I've done it. Oh my God, I've done it. And maybe you do it 3 times and then you go, I'm not doing that again. I'm too tired.
Yeah. And I think like that is such a normal thing. Like it's actually it's really normal to kind of have the motivation but not the habit. And I think it's then the habit it feels really difficult because actually I think we want the bigger picture, right? Like I remember like right at the start of like my journey wanting the bigger picture and not understanding. I was like, what am I missing here? And actually it was just the fact that I was just starting way too big and then failing every time and then being like, well, I don't get it. But actually I wish that I had somebody that had told me, 1%. Do 1%, do it a little bit smaller. Like I remember trying to go to the gym 7 days a week from nothing. Like that's
I think we've all been there, right? When we're like, I'm gonna be one of those people.
I was like, that's absolutely insane. Like maybe try once a week to start off with. That's absolutely fine. Like even if it is just going in and walking on the treadmill to start off with, like getting used to the space. Start your fitness journey where you are. And like I'm such a big believer of just meeting yourself where you are, rather than looking. I think we can look at other people and we can be like, I want to be like that.
Yeah,
and that's really cool. Like there's loads of people I admire, but actually like I know what it takes to get there and it's just going to be...
They didn't start off
100%
exactly like that. Yeah. Like when you look at an athlete or you look at even just someone on Instagram who's living a lifestyle that you think you want, they didn't just wake up one day and they are 6 a.m. people and they've got a successful business or a good body, or like they take years to build their habits, to build their lifestyle to get to that point. And it sounds like such simple advice. But it really is a case of mind over matter when it comes to that little crossover section. You're riding on the motivation, and then before it becomes a habit, you're at those crossroads where you either fail or you keep pushing through. And you have to just keep pushing through. And you have to push through the uncomfortableness of saying, I don't know, whatever it is, no to a takeaway, or no to your partner saying, do you want to do this weekend? But then you realize, or whatever, apply it to whatever you want it to be. If maybe you want to stop drinking, and you come to, you're so motivated because you have no plans, and then you come up with your first social event, and then you're going, really, this is tough, and maybe I'll just have a drink or whatever it is, and suddenly that it's not a habit because you've just lost motivation. So whereas for you and I, so we don't drink, right? So now it's normal, which you could call a habit. My habit is that if I go into a bar, my habit is to automatically look at the 0% or the soft drinks, and I'm going, what sparkling water brand do they have?
What bubble size is it?
What bubble size do you have? Let me see your ice cubes. So, you know, that's the habit.
This is a thing, like the outcome of habits we all look to, but actually that middle section is the key to building those habits, and it's going to be so many different things, and for everybody this will be completely different, because it is a case of meeting you where you are, like be where your feet are. It's really easy to look at someone and be like, well, I watched her watch Eats in a day, so I'm going to do that. Like being like, that's the habit I need, but actually it probably isn't.
Gosh, how many times have people done that? Like I've done that. I've done that in the beginning of my fitness journey, where I used to watch so many what I eat in a days, and I thought, I'm gonna do that. Like the raw vegan diet, and I was like, that's my new habit. And then the next day I woke up and I was like, I'm never eating a bit of cooked food in my life ever again. And guess what? It failed.
Raw carrots. I remember I saw this girl on Instagram, and she was like, I eat like 5,000 calories a day, and I was like, you know what, that one's for me.
That one's for me.
That's for me.
Do you know what? Why is not everyone doing that?
I was like, you know what, my whole problem is that I'm not eating enough.
Eating more than a 6-foot man.
I was like, that's exactly what I need. Like, that's just insane. And you know what, this is the thing, we look to other people's habits for probably a bit of validation to do that, but actually,
again, why I think it's, and I will always preach that having a coach 100%. is and we will talk about this on a podcast sometime soon, but self-coaching is hard, because this is why even coaches have coaches, because you have that other pair of eyes looking at your life, and they know enough about you. It's not just your friends advising. It's a professional that's looking at your life and going, yeah, you might want to be like XYZ, or you might want to eat like that, but you can't because of this reason, or what I would suggest is this. And I think it's just so important for people that if you want to take that fitness journey seriously, having a coach is so important. Because they will take it as seriously as you will.
It takes the question out of it, right? So I remember, like, at the start of my journey, there was just so much question and ambiguity. There was just so much ambiguity, because I was taking advice from people who shouldn't have advised, really.
Or social media,
you know, I like nothing really of any relevance or any scientific fact. And it wasn't until I started to understand and be like, hang on a second, like, I'm listening to people that, you know, may have a skewed image of the fitness industry. They're not looking at it objectively, you know, and I'm looking at other females who either were in completely different bodies, or just completely
they're not you.
They're different circumstances.
Absolutely.
These habits that you need to create are going to be individual. They're going to be different for every single person. It's going to be a case of looking at your life as a whole.
Absolutely.
And building it from wherever you are at now, not where you want to be.
So let's say, like, someone's now sitting here listening and they're like, okay, girls, what do I need to do? It's very important that you look at your systems currently, and it's very 100%. Important that you look at your habits currently. And I think probably the first place to start with is dropping any poor habits. Right? So let's say you are a consistent takeaway eater. People that are weekend drinkers, but it's every weekend. You know, that's a big one. And it's, I think sometimes looking at that and thinking, okay, these are habits that I've gotten into. I get home on a Friday night and I crave a takeaway. That means it's a habit. My body is expecting that. Let's look at that. How can we reduce that? If we drop those, or adjust poorer habits first.
For sure. Yeah.
And then potentially even, where do we fill that space with something else?
I think a second one is looking at your like support network who is around you, especially if you have a partner, a husband at home, anybody like that you are sharing your life with. I think it's really important that you communicate where you want to be, and really important that they understand it. And I think it goes even as far as friends, family, and people like that, to understand what your goals are, so that if you are having a moment moment where you're feeling a bit bleak about everything, you have a support network around you where you can say, like, I can't bother, I want a takeaway. And they turn around and say, are you sure? And sometimes all it takes is that.
Which can be hard when we, you know, sometimes we live in a life where our partners are our best friends, right?
Yeah,
and they are probably therefore living in the same kind of habits.
Yeah.
So we see this often where it's like one person will say, I really want to take away, and the other one will go, I was hoping you'd say that. And that can be really tough. But I think maybe sometimes, like you say, it's about finding that support network or someone that could just be on board with you. And I definitely with partners is a big one, I think, because you live with this person, right? And I think it's very important that they understand why you're doing something. And if that means that you have to sit them down at the very beginning of a fitness journey and say, I need this life change. This has to happen. Or I will be miserable. You know, like actually having them understand or whatever your reasons are.
Yeah.
And I think starting off with that, the support system, but also one thing I say about that with some of my clients is make sure that you're telling people why you're doing this, even if they don't support you. We have all been there in terms of having maybe friends or judgmental parents, let's say. Sometimes people don't understand, like, but you've been dieting for ages, or you don't need to lose weight, right? We've all heard that. Like, you know, make it known. Make it known. Say it loud and proud.
Like, own it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's something, when you're building new habits and you're trying to change whatever it may be, that's, for me, I'm forever impressed with people doing that. I will never judge anybody doing that. But, like, I think that it's a case of, and I wish I had done this at the start, I wish I'd owned it a bit more. Like, be bold in that choice. And you know what? Like, again, be where your feet are. If you're trying to change, make it known, and don't shy away from that, because it's completely fine and completely cool to change those habits.
Definitely. Totally agree. I think as well, in terms of like thinking about more practical habits that people can apply, is I just thought of one there, which was water. Such a simple one. And I feel like this is another one where people would roll their eyes and be like, I know I need to drink more water. It's like, okay, but what are you actually doing to implement that as a habit? And I will always say is like, get yourself like a litre water bottle. Yes. And frickin' take it with you everywhere. It's a conscious choice. Same with steps. It's a conscious choice.
Steps and water are really overlooked. Because, let's get my ass to the gym. Again, me. 7 days a week in the gym. Didn't drink a glass of water. 1,000 steps a day. You know, it's doing nothing. Do you know what I mean? But actually, these are things that you can do whatever phase of your life you are in.
And I don't know whether this is society or generational, but there's so much emphasis on going to the gym. Whereas actually, the reality is you could do a lot more with just changing your eating habits, drinking more and moving more. Because those are boring and I don't feel any changes from them. But they will make the changes in the long term. You don't get much dopamine
from it, right? When you can go into the gym and like you know, you put your music on, you feel like you get a bit of a rush when you come out of it, especially when you're building that habit. Nobody knows or sees you drink 3 litres of water a day. No, and also like literally nobody's ever going to know apart from you. Sleep, water, steps, things like that. These are all like basics. Managing stress to the point that you can manage it. These are all things that you can do before you step in a gym, before you even consider getting a gym membership.
But how many people want to bypass it all and they just want to get into the gym? And then sometimes it's about pulling people back from things like that. So it's like almost like before you want to build those habits.
Educate yourself as best you can around nutrition. There's so many resources out there that you can look at. Water, steps, sleep, as much as you possibly can. And that would be, you know, if you are a mother, you obviously have a little bit less control there, but actually it's about putting your phone down.
Definitely.
You know, like coming away from screens, things like that. That's kind of what we mean
like,
there.
Is your go-to once you've put them to bed, is your go-to to go on your phone? Or is it to go and actually get some rest and some downtime?
Exactly. And then managing stress as much as you can. And in terms of stress, there are obviously so many different types of stress, but actually we're not looking to get rid of stress. It's actually managing it.
You could be physically stressed or mentally stressed, and it can have such a huge impact on fat loss.
And there's so many ways you can, you know, even stuff like getting outside and going for your steps is going to help you manage stress. Like there's so many things to that, but like actually thinking about where your stresses are and what you can do to change it and what is in your power, rather than thinking this is not in my power, because it is, and those habits are, you know.
Like say it's like trying to break poor habits first before you adding more habits on. So if you're a stressed parent, rather than adding in, right, well, I should be going to the gym. That should be my habit. Okay, let's break down how you're sleeping, how you're eating, what water you're drinking. Lots of people jump on the meal prep bandwagon. Don't get me wrong. I think meal prep is great.
Yeah.
And it's needed.
Yeah.
It's definitely needed in some cases. If you're an office worker and you need to bring your lunch, and of course you need to do these kind of meal prep things. But then sometimes people are missing the basics of actually just like going on a Sunday, waking up on a Sunday and going and doing your food shop, or making sure that you have the habit in place to do it. And instead they're running into Tesco's on the way back from home, and then they didn't have this or they didn't have that, and I couldn't do my meal prep because of it, and then I tried to do my meal prep, but because of this I couldn't. And rather than that, like, break it right down into right, how does my week look, and where do I actually need meal prep and where do I not?
Yes. And this is the thing. So, like, for example, like in our house, Scott meal preps his protein and his protein only, whereas I do full meal prep just because, like, I don't have space in my brain to like sort it out. Yep. But actually, with Scott, for example, that works for him. Just doing the protein. And I do think that, like, when you go on places like Instagram and stuff like that, you see these like really complicated meal prep meals. Sorry, if I'm having to get a blender out, I'm not doing it. Like, goddamn. Yeah. Like, and I think it's a case of just actually being like, how is this going to be the most simple thing? I can do 4 days worth of meal prep or like prepped meals in about 15 minutes. Because whereas when I first started, it would take me a whole afternoon.
I think sometimes people see on social media as well, you see a lot of like coaches or athletes having these laid out spreads of 20 meals for their week, and they're going, this is how you have a successful week. And I don't meal prep a single damn thing, but I work from home. So that works for me. And the reason it works for me is because if I actually meal prepped, it would mean that my little break that I get between work would be so much shorter. The break that I take, and this I suppose is a habit in itself, is for me, I need to pull myself away from the laptop. So I actually break away to go, I need to go and make my lunch. So I'll go and I'll stand in the kitchen and I will make my lunch, and therefore I'm actually getting away from the screen and I'm having that downtime. And then I sit and eat it, and then I go back to the laptop. But if I was just pulling it out the fridge, I'd probably sit and eat it at my desk and then carry on. But I need that little mental break. So for me, that works better. But obviously that doesn't work for everyone, right? So sometimes people do need, like you say, they could just prep the protein, or people could just prep the veg ready for dinner, so that when you come home you don't have to slice up all your veg for your stir fry, you can just chuck it in, right?
And that's the thing, like, I think it's, again, meeting yourself where you are. What do you actually need, rather than looking at what somebody else is doing and making a choice on that? Have you got room in your brain to think about that? Is it a case of giving yourself a little bit of headspace? Do you enjoy cooking, so you want to cook it all fresh? Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Like, is it something
is that something you enjoy? Like, then why would you change it? It doesn't make an unsuccessful person for sure, if you are not someone that has 20 meals of meal prep going, but equally so it doesn't make you successful the other way either, you know?
Like, three nights this week I've had a barbecue.
Nice.
I'm just a grilling girl, you know?
I just like a grill. I like
grilling. So do you know what I mean? Like, I have never meal prepped a dinner because I like to have flexibility with my dinner. Now, you know, I'm a foodie. I love food. But, like, during the day, I am so just, like, in my zone where I just need to get things done. So when I finish work, I'm decompressed. I'm standing at my barbecue and I'm just, like, really enjoying barbecuing my food.
Such a country life.
I know. And... like, that's where I want to be. So, it would take joy away from me if I was to do that.
For sure.
And I like having that versatility with my food in the evening. I love that, you know? And I think that is okay.
That's another one actually making me think of there was, in terms of habits, and creating habits is a reward at the end of a habit, right? So let's say if you were to wake up early in the morning, let's say you had a coffee shop near you, and you could use I'm no longer going to have coffees at home for my morning coffee. I'm going to make sure that I get up and I walk to the coffee shop, and then I get my coffee and I walk home, and then therefore you've hit yourself 2,000 steps in the morning. Easy peasy.
That's so true, because, like, honestly, I'll pretty much do anything for a cappuccino.
Yeah, right. There's us literally Uber Eats singing.
Like, if somebody's like, there's a cappuccino here, I will be there. Like,
extra chocolate dust.
As much chocolate dust as you can. I will be there. And I think this is the thing, like, you can find those things. Like, for me, like, a cappuccino is something that, like, for example, like on Sunday, like tomorrow, I will go and I will get my steps in, but I will have a cappuccino while I do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I like, you know what, like, you can romanticize these habits. It doesn't have to be this big serious, like, type of situation.
Thank you guys for listening. If you wanted to catch us on Instagram, you can catch me at georgie.lifts or at 13coaching.
You can find me at melissat.fit or at MT Fitness Coaching.
Bye.
There we go. Smash that.